Putangina! Anong oras na, wala pa rin yung report na yan, Giselle. Don't tell me inuuna mo na naman yung landian mo sa kabilang department kaysa sa trabaho mo. I swear, if I don't get that revised G3 financial projection on Invidesk, email, in the next 5 minutes, you are so fired. Ang boses ni Jessa Alcantara, CEO ng isa sa pinakamalaking food and beverage company sa bansa, ay umalinggao sa kanyang maluwag at modernong opisina, kahit pa sa kabilang linya lang ng telepono kausap ang kanyang executive assistant. Sa labas, ang kalangitan ng Makati ay kasing dilim ng kanyang muod, binubuhusan ng malakas na ulan na may kasamang kulog at kidlat. Perfect. Just perfect para sa isang gabing gusto na lang niyang umuwi at magbabad sa hot tub. Ma'am Jessa, I'm so sorry po. Nag-crash po kasi yung system kanina, pero on it na po ako, promise. 5 minutes, ma'am, narinig niyang sagot ni Giselle, halatang nanginginig ang boses. Make it 3, sigaw ni Jessa bago ibinagsak ang telepono. Napahilamos siya sa mukha. Stress. Palaging stress. Bakit ba kasi parang siya lang ang marunong magtrabaho ng maayos sa kumpanyang ito? Minsan, gusto na niyang mag-clone ng sarili niya para lang matapos lahat ng kailangang tapusin. Sumandal siya sa kanyang ergonomic chair, pinikit ang mga mata. Kailangan niya ng kape. O mas maganda, isang baso ng wine. Pero bago yun, kailangan muna niyang ma-review ang pesting report na yun. Ang board meeting ay bukas ng umaga at ayaw niyang magmukhang tanga. Prairie-ing. Napamulat siya. Hindi yun ang telepono niya. Tunog yun ng lumang alarm clock. Nagpalinga-linga siya. Wala namang ibang tao sa opisina niya. Or so she thought. Maya-maya pa, isang malakas na click ang narinig niya mula sa pintuan. Sinundan ng isa pang click. Parang may nagla-lock. Agad siyang napatayo. Hello? Is anyone there? Lumakad siya palapit sa pinto, aalis na sana para kumuha ng kape sa pantry ng biglang. Whoosh! And then, darkness. Total, absolute, pitch black darkness. What the? Sigaw ni Jessa, sabay ka pa sa switch ng ilaw. Pindot. Pindot. Wala. Giselle. Ano na namang kalokohan to? Sinubukan niyang buksan ang pinto. Nakalock. Hoy! Sino yan? Buksan niyo tong pinto. Kinapa niya ang cellphone sa kanyang bulsa. Thank God for muscle memory. Dinyal niya si Giselle. No signal. Sinubukan niya ang building security. No signal. Nag-try siyang mag-text. Message sending failed. Oh, fantastic, sarkastiko niyang bulong sa dilim. Of all the nights for power outage and a signal jam, ngayon pa talaga. Napasuntok siya sa pinto. Hello? May tao ba dyan? Katahimikan. O, mas tamang sabihin, ang naririnig lang niya ay ang rumaragasang ulan sa labas at ang sarili niyang humihingal na paghinga. Great. Just great. Na nga, nakulong pa sa sariling opisina, she muttered, frustration seeping into her voice. At mukhang mag-isa lang ako dito. Pero hindi pala. Isang mahinang kaluskos ang narinig niya mula sa kabilang dulo ng opisina, malapit sa mga filing cabinet. Para siyang na-frozen. May kasama siya. At hindi niya alam kung sino. Sino yan? Mas mahina na ang boses niya ngayon, maihalong kaba. Isang anino ang dahan-dahang tumayo mula sa pagkakaupo sa sahig. Sa liwanag ng kidlat na sumisilip sa malalaking bintana, naaninag niya ang isang lalaki. Nakasuot ito ng asul na uniform. Janitor. Ay, ma'am. Nandyan po pala kayo, tanong ng lalaki, boses niya mahinahon, tila nagulat din, sorry po, akala ko po nakaalis na kayo. Nilock ko na po kasi yung pinto, tapos bigla pong nag-brown out. Si Lino. Ang tahimik na janitor na madalas niyang nakakasalubong sa hallway pero ni minsan ay hindi niya pinagtuunan ng pansin. Sa pagkakatanda niya, palaging nakayuko ito, bit-bit ang mop at timba, parang hangin lang na dumadaan. At ngayon, kasama niya ito sa dilim. Nakakainis. Obviously, I'm still here, asik ni Jessa, bumalik ang pagkairita. And Kavi, would you lock the door without checking if the office is empty? Basic protocol yan, di ba? Kahit madilim, alam niyang napayuko ito lalo. Sorry po talaga, ma'am. Akala ko po kasi po madalas, ganitong oras, wala na po kayo, mahinang sagot ni Lino. Napabuntong hininga si Jessa. Wala siyang makukuha sa pakikipag-away dito. Okay, fine. Just can you open the door? May master key ka naman siguro, di ba? Narinig niya ang pag-aalangan sa boses ni Lino. Ma'am, yung main door po ng floor, automatic pong nagla-lock pag ganitong oras, lalo na pag weekends or may bagyo. Tapos yung pinto po ng office nyo, double lock po yan from the outside. Yung susi po na gamit ko, pang isang lock lang. So you're telling me, Jessa said slowly, trying to control her temper, na pareho tayong na-trap dito. Opo, ma'am. Mukhang ganun na nga po, sagot ni Lino, parang nahihiya pa. Unbelievable. Jessa threw her hands up in exasperation, kahit hindi naman ito makikita ni Lino. Phone has no signal. Yours? Wala rin po, ma'am. Mura lang po kasi itong cellphone ko, mahina talaga sa signal, sagot ni Lino, na parang kasalanan pa niya. Umupo si Jessa sa sofa, ramdam ang pagod at gutom. Kaninang tanghali pa ang huli niyang kain, isang maliit na salad na hindi naman talaga nakakabusog. The irony of being the CEO of a food company and starving in her own office was not lost on her. Katahimikan. Awkward, deafening silence, punctuated only by the storm and the occasional rumble of Jessa's stomach. Sinubukan niyang huwag ipahalata, pero kumakalam na talaga ang sikmura niya. Ma'am, okay lang po kayo, tanong ni Lino, boses niya tila nag-aalala. I'm fine, mabilis niyang sagot, medyo defensive. Ayaw niyang magmukhang mahina sa harap ng isang janitor. Pride, Jessa, pride. Pero ang tiyan niya, may sariling isip. Karuk! Napapikit si Jessa sa kahihiyan. Great. Now he knows. Narinig niya ulit ang kaluskos. Sa liwanag ulit ng kidlat, nakita niyang may kinukuha si Lino sa backpack nito. Isang maliit na plastic container. Baon. Ma'am, kung gutom po kayo, may konti po akong baon dito, alok ni Lino, boses niya hesitant. Pasensya na po, simpleng ulam lang po. Napatingin si Jessa sa direksyon ni Lino, kahit anino lang ang nakikita niya. The audacity. Inaalok siya ng pagkain. Siya, si Jessa Alcantara, kakain ng baon ng janitor. The thought was almost insulting. Pero yung tiyan niya, kumakalam pa rin. At ang amoy may kakaibang bango na humahalo sa malamig na hangin ng opisina. Parang adobo. Or something equally savory. No, thank you. I'm not hungry, she lied, trying to sound dismissive. Pero ang totoo, para na siyang hihimatayin sa gutom. Sige po, ma'am, sagot ni Lino, tapos narinig na lang niya ang mahinang tunog ng kutsara at tinidor. Kumakain na ito. Lalo siyang nagutom. Ang bango ng pagkain, parang nanunuot sa ilong niya, nang aasar. She imagined him eating something delicious, while she, the boss, was starving. The injustice. After a few more minutes of internal debate, and another embarrassingly loud stomach growl, Jessa sighed in defeat. Pride be damned. Gutom na talaga siya. Okay, fine, she said, trying to sound like she was doing him a favor. What do you have there? Baka mamaya, panis pa yan. Ang sungit pa rin kahit sukdulan na ang gutom. Narinig niyang napatigil si Lino sa pagkain. Ay, hindi po, ma'am. Bagong luto po ito kaninang umaga. Adobong manok po. Sa kakanin. Adobong manok. Her favorite. Pero syempre, hindi niya iyon ipapahalata. Sige na nga. Pero konti lang, ha? I'm on a diet, she added, kahit alam niyang kasinungalingan iyon. Narinig niyang tumayo si Lino at lumapit sa kanya. Kinapa nito ang coffee table. Ma'am, dito ko na lang po ilalapag. May dala po akong extra na kutsara at tinidor, malinis po yan. Sa dilim, kinapa ni Jessa ang container. Mainit pa ng konti. Binuksan niya. Kahit hindi niya makita ng klaro, ang bango ay sa ilong niya. Strong garlic, soy sauce, vinegar, and something else a hint of sweetness. Nagsimula siyang kumain dahan-dahan sa umpisa. The first bite. Nanlaki ang mga mata niya, pero buti na lang madilim. Ang lambot ng manok. Ang lasa ng sauce, perfect ang timpla, hindi masyadong maalat, hindi masyadong maasim, may tamang tamis at anghang na subtle lang. Even the rice was perfectly cooked. This was unbelievably good. Way better than the overpriced adobo she sometimes ordered from fancy restaurants. It's edible, sabi niya, trying to sound nonchalant, kahit ang totoo, gusto niyang ubusin lahat. She took another bite, then another. Hindi niya namalayan, sunod-sunod na ang subo niya. Narinig niyang mahinang tumawa si Lino. Salamat po, ma'am. Don't get any ideas. Gutom lang talaga ako, mabilis niyang bawi, pero patuloy pa rin sa pagkain. She even scraped the sides of the container para makuha lahat ng sauce. Classy, Jessa, real classy. Nang maubos niya, saka lang niya na-realize kung gaano siya kasarap kumain. Medyo nahiya siya. Okay, that was not bad. For janitor's baon. She tried to sound condescending, pero may halong pagtataka na sa boses niya. Salamat po ulit, ma'am, Lino replied simply. Natahimik ulit sila. Pero this time, it's a different kind of silence. Hindi na kasing awkward. Maybe because her stomach was finally full. Or maybe because of something else. Sumandal ulit si Jessa sa sofa, a small, almost imperceptible smile playing on her lips. She would never admit it out loud, lalo na sa harap ni Lino, pero iyon na yata ang pinakamasarap na adobong natikman niya sa buong buhay niya. Ang isisi na perfectionist na stuck sa dilim kasama ang isang tahimik na janitor at kumain ng baon nito. Ang gabi ay mahaba pa at ang bagyo sa labas ay parang walang balak tumila. Pero kahit paano, sa gitna ng inis at pagkagulat, may isang bagay na hindi inaasahan si Jessa. Ang simpleng adobong manok ni Lino ay nag-iwan ng kakaibang init at curiosity sa kanya. Sino ba talaga itong janitor na to na marunong magluto ng ganito kasarap? Kinabukasan, pagkatapos ng gabing iyon na eventful, to say the least, pilit ibinabalik ni Jessa ang sarili sa kanyang CEO mode. Maaga siyang pumasok, suot ang kanyang pinaka-intimidating na power suit, handang harapin ang board meeting na para bang walang nangyaring kakaiba. The blackout was a building issue, not hers. Ang pagkakakulong niya? Definitely not something she wanted to advertise. At yung pagkain niya ng baon ng janitor. Absolutely off-limits for public consumption, or even private recollection, kung pwede lang. Pero kahit anong pilit niyang i-focus ang isip sa mga spreadsheets at PowerPoint presentations, may isang bagay na pabalik-balik sa alaala niya, parang sirang plaka, ang lasa ng adobong manok ni Lino. Damn it, she muttered under her breath habang tinititigan ang projected sales figures na hindi naman talaga niya nakikita. Ang nakikita niya, yung itsura ng manok na kumakalas sa buto, yung kanin na sinabawan ng malapot-lapot na sauce. Focus, Jessa. The board meeting went as smoothly as expected, mainly because Jessa Alcantara always came prepared. Pero pagbalik niya sa opisina, habang si Giselle ay nagre-recap ng mga minutes, hindi niya mapigilan ang sarili. Giselle, tawag niya, trying to sound casual. That janitor from last night. Yung naka-duty during the blackout. What's his full name again? Napatingin si Giselle, medyo nagulat. Si Kuya Lino po, ma'am. Lino Mendoza po. Bakit po, ma'am? May problema po ba sa paglilinis niya kagabi? No, just curious, mabilis na sagot ni Jessa. Carry on ni Lino Mendoza. Ang pangalan ay umikot-ikot sa isip niya. Lino Mendoza na nagluto ng adobong dinaig pa ang mga fine dining restaurant. The next few days were a strange kind of torture. Every time she ate her usual bland, healthy and expensive lunch, quinoa salad, grilled chicken braised without a hint of joy, or some god-awful green juice, naisip niya yung adobo. It was becoming an obsession. One she couldn't and wouldn't admit to anyone. Then came the accidental encounters. Unang beses sa elevator. Rush hour. Punuan. Usually, may sariling elevator si Jessa, o di kaya yung executive elevator. Pero that day, nagmamadali daw siya at yung pinakamalapit na elevator ang pinasok niya. And who was standing quietly in the corner, holding pushcart with cleaning supplies? Lino Mendoza. Nagkatinginan sila saglit. Jessa quickly looked away, chin up, radiating her usual, don't talk to me aura. Si Lino naman, bahagyang yumuko, a small nod of acknowledgement. Walang imikan. Pero sa loob-loob ni Jessa, parang may kumiliti. Kilig. No, definitely not. It was indigestion probably. From the awful salad she had. The elevator stopped at her floor. As she walked out, she thought she smelled a faint, very faint, aroma of something savory clinging to his uniform. Or baka imagination niya lang. The next accident happened few days later. Lunchtime. Instead of having her food delivered to her office, Jessa decided she needed some air and wanted to see how the rank-and-file employees were doing. Translation, pupunta siya sa employee pantry. Malaki ang pantry ng kumpanya, may microwaves, tables, at doon kumakain ang karamihan ng empleyado na nagbabaon. She walked in, pretending to look for the specific brand of tea bags they supposedly stocked there, which she knew they didn't. Ang mga empleyado nagulat. Para silang na-freeze, yung iba muntik ng mabulunan sa kinakain. The CE, in their humble pantry. Unheard of. Jessa scanned the room, feigning casual interest. And there he was. Sa isang sulok na table, mag-isang kumakain. Nakatalikod dito sa kanya, pero kilala niya ang build at ang uniform. At ang amoy this time, hindi siya nagkakamali. It was definitely food. Good food. Naglakad siya, kunwari may hinahanap pa rin. Napadaan siya malapit sa table nito. Hindi sinasadya, of course. Sumilip siya sa baunan ni Lino. Hindi adobo. This time, it looked like sinigang. Ang asim-kilig na amoy ay umabot sa kanya. Her stomach let out teeny, almost inaudible grumble. Lino must have sensed her presence. Dahan-dahan itong lumingon. Nagtama ulit ang mga mata nila. This time, there was a flicker of surprise in his. Ma'am Jessa, he said, voice still soft. Magandang tanghali po. Mendoza, she acknowledged with a curt nod, trying to sound like she just happened to be there. Enjoying your lunch? Stupid question, Jessa. Of course, he's enjoying it. It probably tastes like heaven. Opo, ma'am. Kayo po, ma'am? Hindi po kayo kakain, tanong ni Lino, may genuine curiosity sa boses. I already ate, she lied smoothly. Just checking on things. She gave a dismissive wave and walked away, feeling a strange pang of something. Disappointment. Longing. Whatever it was unsettling. The accidental pantry visits became a semi-regular thing. Sometimes she'd see him, sometimes she wouldn't. Pag nakikita niya ito, she'd make some excuse to walk by, catch a whiff of his baon. Tinola. Menudo. Bistec. Every day, to different delicious smell. Every day, Jessa's resolve to ignore him and his food weakened. One afternoon, the universe, or Jessa's subconscious planning, finally conspired. Nag-extend ang meeting niya, so late na siya for lunch. Pagpunta niya sa pantry, halos wala ng tao. Except for Lino, quietly finishing his meal. This time, the aroma was distinct, ginisang ampalaya na may itlog at hipon. Not her favorite vegetable, but damn, it smelled good. There was an empty table near his. Jessa hesitated for a split second. To hell with it, umupo siya doon, nilabas ang kanyang surprise salad. Lino looked up, clearly surprised to see her actually sitting down and preparing to eat in the pantry. Ma'am Jessa. Mendoza, she said, trying to sound casual as she poked at her lettuce. Looks like we're both working late today, huh? Opo, ma'am. Medyo marami lang pong kailangang tapusin sa kabilang wing, sagot ni Lino, tapos bumalik sa pagkain. Silence. Jessa ate her salad, which suddenly tasted like cardboard. She kept glancing at Lino's food. Yung ampalaya, parang hindi mukhang mapait. Yung hipon, ang pula at mukhang ang sarap. Your baon, Jessa started, trying to sound like an ELC manager conducting a survey. You cook it yourself. Lino stopped eating, looking a bit deli. Opo, ma'am. Mas tipid po kasi. Saka gusto ko po talagang magluto. That last part caught Jessa's attention. You like cooking? He nodded, a small, almost imperceptible smile forming on his lips. Opo, ma'am. Sobra po. Bigla, parang nag-iba ang aura niya. The dada's janitor seemed to fade a little, replaced by someone with a quiet passion. So, yung adobo nung gabing yun? Jessa trailed off, pretending to fix her salad. Ako rin po, ma'am, ang nagluto noon, he confirmed. It was decent, Jessa conceded, trying her best to sound unimpressed. Decent? Jessa, it was divine. Lino chuckled softly. Salamat po, ma'am. He paused, then, as if a dam had broken, he started to talk. Pangarap ko po talaga kasing maging chef, ma'am. Jessa stopped poking her salad. Tumingin siya kay Lino. For the first time, she really looked at him. He wasn't just a janitor. He was a man with dream. Talaga, she asked, genuine interest in her voice, something she rarely showed. Opo. Bata pa lang po ako, mahilig na akong tumulong sa nanay ko sa kusina. Siya po yung nagturo sa akin ng mga basic. Tapos noong high school, ako na po yung palaging tagaluto sa bahay. Kahit simpleng ulam lang, ma'am, masaya na po ako pag nakikita kong nasasarapan sila sa luto ko. His eyes had a faraway look, a spark that wasn't there before. So, Belve LD, are you working as a janitor? Jessa asked, the question slipping out before she could stop it. It was a bit too personal, even for her. Lino's smile faded slightly. He looked down at his half-eaten lunch. Mahirap lang po kami, ma'am. Panganay po ako. Noong nakagraduate po ako ng high school, may nakuha po sana akong scholarship sa isang culinary school. Maliit lang po na eskwelahan, pero malaking bagay na po sana yun. What happened? Jessa found herself leaning forward, invested in his story. Nagkasakit po yung tatay ko. Kailangan po ng pera para sa gamot sa ospital. Yung scholarship po, pang tuition lang, wala pong allowance. Kailangan ko pong magtrabaho agad para makatulong sa pamilya. Kaya po ito. He gestured vaguely at his uniform. Pero okay lang po, ma'am. At least, nakakatulong po ako sa kanila. Yung pagluluto, hobby na lang po muna. Para sa sarili ko, saka sa pamilya ko. Jessa was silent for a moment. She, who had everything handed to her on a silver platter, elite schools, a business empire to inherit, felt a strange pang of something akin to shame. Or maybe admiration. This man, Lino, had given up his dream for his family. And yet, he didn't sound bitter. Resigned, perhaps, but not bitter. So, all those different bound you bring you're practicing, she asked softly. Lino's eyes lit up again. Opo, ma'am. Para na rin po hindi ako mangalawang. Sinusubukan ko po yung mga recipe na nababasa ko, o minsan, imbento ko lang. Yung adobo po na natikman nyo, may konting twist po yun na ako lang ang gumagawa. He looked a bit proud. A secret ingredient. Jessa raised an eyebrow, a playful smirk on her lips. It was the first time she had bantered with him, or with any employee on this level. Lino chuckled. Parang ganun na nga po, ma'am. They ate in comfortable silence for a few more minutes. Jessa finished her salad, which didn't taste so bad anymore. Or maybe her palate was just cleansed, ready for something better. As Lino stood up to clear his things, Jessa said, Mendoza. He stopped. Po, ma'am? You're cooking. It's promising. It was the highest compliment she could muster without sounding like a love-struck fool. Which she wasn't. Definitely not. A genuine, wide smile finally broke through Lino's eerie exterior. It transformed his face, made him look younger, almost handsome. Salamat po, Ma'am Jessa. Malaking bagay po yun para sa akin. He walked away and Jessa watched him go. Promising. That was an understatement. The next day, Jessa found herself, accidentally, leaving a small, unopened bottle of artisanal, barrel-aged soy sauce on a deserted table in the pantry before Lino's usual lunch break. She had too many tea at home, she told herself. It was probably going to expire soon anyway. Sayang naman. She didn't see if he took it. She didn't dare go back to the pantry that day. But a few days later, during another accidental elevator encounter, this time, less crowded, just the two of them, as Lino stepped out on his floor, he turned to her. "Ma'am Jessa," he said, a hint of a smile on his face. "Salamat po pala sa satoyo. Mas lalo pong sumarap yung adobo ko." He gave a small, respectful nod and disappeared down the hallway. Jessa stood frozen in the elevator, her heart doing a strange little flutter. Kilig. This time, she couldn't deny it. It was faint, unexpected, and utterly inappropriate for he to feel towards a janitor. But it was there. She touched her lips, a ghost of a smile forming. Lino Mendoza. The janitor who dreamed of being chef. The janitor whose simple adobo was slowly, inexplicably, capturing her attention and maybe, just maybe, something more. She still maintained her fierce, all-business persona in the office. No one could suspect a thing. But in the quiet moments, when she was alone, she'd find herself wondering what Lino was cooking for his bound that day. And a small, secret part of her wished she could taste it again. The change in her was subtle, almost imperceptible to others. A slightly softer tone when she, rarely, had to address him directly about cleaning matters. A fleeting glance that lingered a second too long. Small things. But for Jessa, who lived a life of rigid control and emotional detachment, these were monumental shifts. And it all started with a plate of adobo, shared in the dark. Sino nang mag-aakala? The soy sauce incident, as Jessa secretly called it, was turning point. Hindi na lang simpleng curiosity ang nararamdaman niya para kay Lino at sa mga luto nito. May appreciation. At, aminin man niya o hindi, may konting paghanga. The man had passion, a quiet dignity, and a talent that was being wasted mopping floors. The accidental encounters in the pantry became less accidental. At least on Jessa's part, she started forgetting her meticulously prepared lunch more often, giving her an excuse to grab something quick, which usually meant observing Lino from a distance, trying to guess his ulam for the day based on the tantalizing aromas. Minsan, nagdadala siya ng extra, high-quality ingredients, a bottle of special vinegar, some imported peppercorns, even a small pack of saffron. She bought too much of it at iwanan niya sa pantry with a nonchalant note, for anyone who might need this. Palihim siyang umaasa na si Lino ang makakakuha. At si Lino, parang unti-unti na ring nagiging komportable sa presensya niya. He would still be respectful, always calling her, Ma'am Jessa, pero yung dating alanganin na tingin, napapalitan na ng maliit na ngiti. Minsan, kapag nagkakasabay sila at walang ibang tao, nagkakaroon sila ng maikling usapan tungkol sa pagkain. He'd ask her about certain flavor profiles she preferred, and she'd find herself actually engaging, offering opinions beyond it's edible. Masarap po ba yung laing na may konting taba ng baboy, ma'am? Lino asked one day, habang nagpupunas ng mesa malapit sa kinaupuan ni Jessa, na napadaan ilang ulit. Lisa's, I prefer it bit spicier, and with smoked fish flakes instead of pork for cleaner taste. But the richness of coconut milk should still be the star, Jessa replied, surprising herself with the detailed answer. Para siyang food critic. Lino nodded thoughtfully. Noted po, ma'am. Susubukan ko po yan. And sure enough, a week later, the distinct smell of laying, creamy, spicy, with a hint of smokiness, wafted through the pantry. Jessa didn't even have to ask. She just knew. And a small, satisfied smile touched her lips. Pero ang mga lihim na interaksyon na ito ay hindi sapat. Jessa found herself wanting more. More of his food, more of his quiet passion. She found out, through some discreet inquiries via Giselle, who was sworn to secrecy, with the threat of a lifetime supply of instant noodles for lunch if she ever breathed a word, that Lino lived in a nearby barangay and that his mother ran a small carinderia there. A carinderia. A humble eatery. Lino probably helped out there, maybe even cooked some of the dishes. The thought was exciting. One Saturday afternoon, Jessa found herself with an unusual amount of free time. No meetings, no urgent emails. An idea, bold and a little reckless, sparked in her mind. Pupuntahan niya ang karinderya ni Lino. Para hindi makilala, nagsuot siya ng simpleng oversized hoodie na hiniram niya pa sa driver niya, promising a hefty bonus, a baseball cap pulled low, and large sunglasses. She looked more like a celebrity trying to evade paparazzi than AC on mission. Kumuha siya ng taxi instead of her usual chauffeured car at nagpahatid sa address na nakuha ni Giselle. The carinderia, Nanay Elena's eatery, was small and unassuming, tucked away in a busy side street filled with the vibrant chaos of everyday Filipino life. Mga naglalako ng kung ano-ano, jeepney terminal nearby blaring music, kids playing patintero sa kalsada. It was a world away from Jessa's sterile, high-rise corporate environment. Medyo kinakabahan si Jessa. What if makita siya ni Lino? What would she say? But the lure of authentic, home-cooked food, Lino's food, was too strong. She walked in, trying to be inconspicuous. The place was bustling with customers, construction workers, students, office employees from nearby smaller establishments. The air was thick with the smell of different ulam, sinigang, menudo, pinakbet, prito. It was a symphony of Filipino comfort food. Nakita niya si Lino. He was behind the counter, not in his janitor's uniform, but in a simple t-shirt and apron, expertly scooping rice and ulam onto plates, talking animosely with an older woman who Jessa presumed was his mother, Nanay Elena. He looked different. More relaxed, happier. He was in his element. Jessa found a small table in a relatively quiet corner, her back to most of the crowd. She ordered from a young girl who was helping out, dinuguan and puto, a classic combination she hadn't had in years. Nang dumating ang order niya, her heart skipped a beat. The dinuguan was rich and dark, with the perfect balance of soreness and a hint of spice. The puto was soft and slightly sweet. It was, without doubt, delicious. Even better than the adobo, if that was possible. She savored every bite, feeling a strange sense of connection, knowing Lino's hands had probably prepared this. She was halfway through her meal, lost in her own world of culinary delight, when she heard a familiar voice. Ma'am Jessa. Naniga si Jessa. Dahan-dahan siyang lumingon. Nakatayo sa harap niya si Lino, hawak ang isang pitsel ng tubig, gulat na gulat ang itsura. Anong ginagawa niyo dito, ma'am? Jessa's mind raced. Ano nga ba? I was in the neighborhood, she said, wincing internally at how lame it sounded. And I got hungry. This place looked popular. Lino looked at her disguise, the hoodie, the cap, the sunglasses still perched on her nose even indoors. A small, knowing smile played on his lips. Neighborhood. Sige po, ma'am. Enjoy your meal po. He didn't press further, but there was a twinkle in his eye. Mukhang hindi siya convinced. He turned to leave, but Jessa, feeling a bit flustered and wanting to salvage the situation, blurted out, "The dinuguan, it's excellent. Did you cook this?" Lino stopped, a hint of pride in his voice. Opo, ma'am. Recipe po yan ni nanay, pero ako na po ang nagluluto madalas. It's really, really good, Jessa said, sincerity lacing her tone. For a moment, the facade slipped, and she was just a woman enjoying a good meal. Lino's smile widened. Salamat po, ma'am. Gusto niyo po bang tikman yung bopis namin? Specialty rin po namin yun. Before Jessa could answer, a flash went off, a bright, intrusive flash. Pareho silang napalingon ni Lino. May isang lalaki sa labas ng karinderya, hawak ang cellphone, mabilis na tumatakbo palayo. Paparazzi. Or just some random person with camera phone who found it amusing to see a woman in a hoodie and sunglasses eating dinuguan. Jessa's blood ran cold. Her disguise. It wasn't foolproof. What if someone recognized her? the CEO of Alcantara Corp, eating in a humble carinderia, looking like she was hiding from someone. The implications. Sino yun? Tanong ni Lino, mukhang nag-aalala. I don't know, Jessa stammered, biglang nawala ng gana. I should go. Mabilis siyang tumayo, kumuha ng pera sa wallet, at iniwan sa mesa, more than enough to cover her meal. Ma'am, teka lang po. Lino called after her, but Jessa was already rushing out the door, pulling her cap lower, her heart pounding. The next Monday, the storm broke. Jessa was in her office, trying to concentrate on a new marketing proposal, when her phone buzzed. It was an alert from Google, set up for mentions of her name or her company. The headline made her stomach drop. See Jessa Alcantara, secret tears vest in a humble carinderia. Or just craving for the common man's meal. And there it was. A slightly blurry photo of her, in her ridiculous hoodie and sunglasses, sitting at the table in Nanay Elena's eatery. Beside her, looking concerned, was Lino. The angle made it look like they were having an intimate, secretive meeting. Shit! Jessa slammed her fist on the desk. The article, published on a sleazy gossip blog, was full of speculations. Was she having an affair? Was she trying to connect with the masses for a stunt? Was she losing her mind? Her office phone rang. It was Jim Aguilion, the head of AAC. Ma'am Jessa, I think we need to talk. And the board members are concerned. The confrontation with the board was brutal. They weren't angry, but they were deeply disappointed. Her professionalism was questioned. Her judgment was doubted. Jessa, one of the older board members said, his voice stern, you are the face of this company. Any hint of scandal, any action that could be misconstrued, reflects badly on all of us. This Carinderia incident, it's unseemly. Jessa tried to explain. That she was just hungry. That it was a harmless visit. But the photo and the speculative article had already done their damage. They didn't explicitly tell her to fire Lino, but the implication was clear, distance herself. Immediately. Later that day, Jim F. DeLeon called Lino into his office. Jessa wasn't there, but she heard about it later. Lino was advised to maintain a professional distance from the sea. He was reminded of his place in the company. He was subtly threatened that any further incidents could jeopardize his employment. Jessa felt a wave of guilt and anger. Guilt because her reckless actions had put Lino in this position. Anger at the unfairness of it all, at the rigid, judgmental world she lived in. The next time she saw Lino in the hallway, he didn't meet her eyes. He just nodded curtly, his face unreadable, and walked past her. The small smiles, the tentative conversations, the shared passion for food, they were gone. Replaced by a cold, professional distance. The pantry accidents stopped. Jessa went back to eating her bland salads in her office, alone. The joy she had briefly found in Lino's cooking, in their quiet interactions, vanished, leaving behind a hollow ache. The fear of further scandal, the pressure from the board, and the sadness of a lost connection weighed heavily on her. She had secretly visited Lino's carinderia, hoping for a taste of something real, something genuine. Instead, she had opened a Pandora's box of trouble, and in the process, she had hurt the one person who had, however briefly, made her sterile corporate world feel little more human. Lungkot. It was a heavy, suffocating blanket. And Jessa didn't know how to shake it off. She had gotten a taste of something wonderful, only to have it snatched away, partly give by her own carelessness, partly give by the cruel, unwritten rules of her world. Ang tanong na anong ginagawa mo dito, ma'am, ay umalingaw sa isip niya. At ngayon, ang sagot ay malinaw, she had made a mistake. A delicious, exciting, but ultimately costly mistake. The aftermath of the carinderia incident was cold, hard reality check for Jessa. The office felt colder, the hallways longer. Yung dating tila ba may lihim siyang kasiyahan na inaabangan, yung mga accidental encounters, yung amoy ng baon ni Lino, lahat yun naglaho na parang bula. Lino was still there, a silent presence in his blue uniform, but he was ghost of the man she had briefly connected with. He kept his head down, avoided eye contact, and the vibrant spark she'd seen when he talked about cooking was extinguished, replaced by dutiful resignation. Jessa, for her part, threw herself into work with a vengeance, hoping to bury the guilt and the strange sense of loss. Nag-overtime siya gabi-gabi, kinuha lahat ng pwedeng trabahuhin, para lang walang oras mag-isip. But in the quiet moments, when the office was empty and the city lights twinkled outside her window, her thoughts would invariably drift to Lino. To the taste of his adobo, the warmth of his smile, the unfairness of it all. Then, as if things weren't complicated enough, Marco Solis reappeared in her life. Marco was Jessa's ex-boyfriend from college, charming, ambitious, and from a similarly influential family. Their relationship had been a whirlwind of high society parties and calculated power moves, more a strategic alliance than a love match. It ended amicably enough, or so Jessa thought, when their career paths diverged. He had gone abroad to pursue an SB, and she had focused on climbing the corporate ladder at Alcantara Corp. Now, he was back, supposedly to explore business opportunities. And one of the first people he sought out was Jessa. Jessa Alcantara, as a live and breathe. Still stunning, still ruling the world, I see, Marco greeted her, his voice smooth as silk, when he bumped into her at an exclusive business luncheon. He was all suave confidence, expensive suit, and a smile that could charm a snake. Jessa forced a polite smile. Marco. It's been a while. What brings you back? Business, yes dear, always business. And perhaps a desire to reconnect with old friends. He gave her a look that was a little too familiar, a little too suggestive. Jessa wasn't interested in rekindling anything with Marco. Her plate was full, emotionally and professionally. Pero sa mundo nila, connections were currency. So, she agreed to a catch-up dinner. Big mistake. Overpriced pasta and even more overpriced wine, Marco skillfully steered the conversation towards the recent gossip about her. So, I heard you've developed a taste for a more humble lifestyle, he began, a smirk playing on his lips. Dining in carinderias, mingling with the staff. Very down-to-earth of you, Jessa. Jessa stiffened. It was a one-time thing. The media blew it out of proportion. Oh, I'm sure, Marco said, swirling his wine. But janitor, Jessa. Really? What's the story there? Is he a new charity case? Or is there something more flavorful going on? His eyes glinted with a malicious amusement. There's nothing going on, Marco, Jessa said, her voice clipped. He's an employee. That's it, see. Come on, Jessa. Kilala kita. You don't do anything without reason. That photo you look quite chummy. And I heard from some birdies that he's been getting special attention. Maybe even some gifts. He raised an eyebrow. You know, guys like that, they can be very manipulative. They see someone like you, successful, powerful, and they see an opportunity. A meal ticket. A way to climb the ladder without any real effort. Jessa felt a surge of anger. Lino is not like that. Oh, you're on a first-name basis now. Marco chuckled. Yes, dear Jessa, you've always been a bit naive when it comes to people outside our circle. These ordinary people, they have their own agendas. Baka ginagamit ka lang niya. He probably thinks if he gets close to the sea, he'll get promotion, or maybe even some of your money. Sinong niloloko mo, Jessa? Sarili mo. The words, venomous and condescending, hit a raw nerve. Jessa prided herself on her sharp business acumen, her ability to read people. But Marco's words planted a seed of doubt. Lino had been very open about his dream of becoming chef. He had accepted her gifts of ingredients, albeit discreetly. Was it possible? Was his quiet demeanor, his passionate talk about food, all an act? A calculated move to gain her sympathy, her patronage. You don't know him, Jessa insisted, but her voice lacked its usual conviction. The pressure from the board, the whispers in the office, her own guilt, it was all starting to muddle her judgment. I know his type, Marco said dismissively. They prey on kindness. And you, Jessa, for all your fierceness, have a soft spot. He probably spun you some sub-story about his dreams and his hard life. Classic manipulation tactic. The dinner ended on a sour note. Jessa left feeling confused, angry, and deeply unsettled. Marco's words echoed in her mind, twisting her memories of Lino. Yung pagkasincere ba ni Lino ay totoo? O baka nga, tulad ng sabi ni Marco, ginagamit lang siya nito. Selos? Hindi selos too. This was illegitimate concern, wasn't it? She had to protect herself, her company. The doubt began to fester. Every time she saw Lino now, she found herself scrutinizing his actions, his expressions. Yung dating pagka-inosente sa mga mata niya, parang may hidden agenda na ngayon. Yung pagkatahimik niya, baka pagkakalculating. One rainy afternoon, Jessa was leaving the office late. Pagdating niya sa parking lot, nakita niya si Lino, papasakay na sa medyo lumanyang motorsiklo. He looked tired, his uniform damp from the drizzle. For a moment, Jessa felt the pang of her old sympathy. But then, Marco's words came back to her. He probably thinks if he gets close to the sea, he'll get promotion. Impulsively, Jessa walked towards him. Mendoza. Lino turned, surprised. Ma'am Jessa. What do you really want? Jessa asked, her voice sharper than she intended. The stress and confusion were getting to her. Is it a promotion? More money? Is that kaya you've been so attentive? Lino looked taken aback, then confused, then a flicker of hurt crossed his face. Ma'am, hindi ko po kayo maintindihan. Oh, I think you do, Jessa pressed on, filled you a cocktail of Marco's poison and her own insecurities. This whole aspiring chef thing, the sub-stories about your family, was that all for my benefit? Were you hoping I'd what? Fund your culinary dreams? Make you chef in one of his restaurants? Lino's face hardened. The hurt was replaced by a quiet anger. Hindi po ako ganyang klaseng tao, ma'am. Yung mga sinabi ko sa inyo, totoo po yun. Hindi po ako humihingi ng kahit anong pabor. Really? Jessa scoffed, crossing her arms. Because it sure looks like it, that Carinderia incident. Did you leak that photo yourself to get some attention? Para ma-pressure ako. The accusation was wild, unfair, and she knew it, but she couldn't stop herself. Lino stared at her, his eyes filled with deep disappointment that cut Jessa more than any anger could have. Hindi ko po alam kung bakit nyo yan sinasabi, Ma'am Jessa. Akala ko po naiintindihan nyo. His voice was low, strained. Kung yan po ang tingin nyo sa akin, siguro nga po, mas mabuti na lang na umiwas na lang ako. Without another word, he straddled his motorcycle, started the engine with a sputter, and rode off into the rain, leaving Jessa standing there, feeling a sudden, crushing emptiness. The next day, Lino didn't show up for work. Or the day after. Giselle informed her that Lino Mendoza had tendered his resignation, effective immediately. No explanation, just a simple, formal letter. He was gone. Jessa felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief, because that problem was gone. Or a deeper, more profound sense of regret. That evening, she found herself in the deserted employee pantry. On the table where Lino used to sit, there was a small, neatly wrapped package. It was a plastic container, the same kind he used for his baon. Hesitantly, Jessa opened it. Inside was a portion of adobo. His adobo. It smelled just as divine as she remembered. Beside it was a small, folded note. Ma'am Jessa, pasensya na po kung nakaabala ako. Ito na lang po ang naiwan kong sangkap. Sana po magustuhan nyo. Salamat po sa lahat. Lino T. Jessa stared at the adobo, tears welling up in her eyes. The rich aroma filled the empty pantry, stark reminder of what she had lost, what she had pushed away because of her doubts, her pride, and the poisonous words of a manipulative ex. She picked up the fork with trembling hands and took a bite. It was still the best adobo she had ever tasted. But this time, it was seasoned with a bitter taste of regret. Sinong niloloko mo, Jessa? Marco's voice echoed in her head. Ngayon, alam na niya ang sagot. It was herself. She had allowed her fears and insecurities, fueled by Marco's lies, to cloud her judgment and destroy something that could have been special. She was alone again, in her sterile, successful world, with a container of leftover adobo and a heart full of what-ifs. The galley she felt was no longer directed at Lino, but at Marco and most of all, at herself. The adobo Lino left behind was both comfort and torment. Bawat subo ni Jessa, parang may kasamang kirot. The rich, savory taste was a stark reminder of Lino's quiet talent, his unassuming kindness, and her own monumental screw-up. For days, she mechanically went through the motions of being CEO, meetings, reports, corporate smiles, but inside, she felt hollow. Yung dati niyang focus sa trabaho, parang nabawasan ng isang importanteng piyesa. The guilt was a constant companion. She replayed their last conversation in the parking lot over and over in her mind. Her harsh words, his hurt expression. Akala ko po naintindihan niyo. Those words haunted her. All this time, she thought she was the one being perceptive, the one seeing through a potential charade. Pero ang totoo, siya pala ang bulag. Bulag sa sarili niyang pride at insecurities, at sa laso na ikinalat ni Marco. One evening, staring at the empty plastic container that once held Lino's adobo, Jessa made a decision. Hindi niya pwedeng hayaan na lang na ganito. She needed to know the truth. Not Marco's version of the truth, but Lino's. And more importantly, she needed to understand the depth of her mistake. Her first step was to talk to Giselle. Her usually bubbly assistant looked concerned when Jessa called her into her office, her voice unusually subdued. Giselle, I need you to be honest with me, Jessa began, no trace of her usual imperious tone. About Lino Mendoza. What do you know about him? Anything that wasn't in his official employee file. Giselle hesitated. Ma'am, with all due respect, after what happened, are you sure? I'm sure, Jessa said firmly. I made a mistake, Giselle. A big one. And I need to fix it, or at least understand it. Seeing the genuine remorse in her boss' eyes, Giselle softened. Well, ma'am, si Kuya Lino po, he's a really good guy. Tahimik lang po talaga, pero mabait. Yung mga kasamahan niya sa maintenance, lahat sila nire-respeto siya. He never complains, always willing to help. And ma'am, totoo po yung pangarap niyang maging chef. Madalas po siyang nagkukwento sa kanila tungkol sa mga recipe na gusto niyang subukan. And the scholarship he mentioned. The one he gave up. Jessa pressed. Opo, ma'am. Totoo po yun. Narinig ko po yun minsan sa usapan nila ni Mang Tony, yung head ng maintenance. Sayang nga daw po, kasi malaki daw po talaga ang potensya ni Kuya Lino sa pagluluto. Pero inuna niya po talaga yung pamilya niya. Jessa felt a pang of guilt. Lino wasn't lying. He was exactly who he said he was. Do you know where his family's carinderia is? Or where he lives? Giselle nodded, writing down the address on a piece of paper. Nanay Elena's Eatery po, sa Barangay San Roque. Doon din po sila nakatira, sa likod lang po ng karinderya. Armed with this information, Jessa knew her next stop. Kailangan niyang makausap ang nanay ni Lino. The next Saturday, Jessa drove herself to Barangay San Roque. This time, no disguise.